Chicago. After a very deliberate and thorough and transparent process, Chief Larry Snelling has been chosen to lead the Chicago Police Department. And before I say a few words about Chief Snelling, I want to first express my gratitude and appreciation for the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability, led by Commissioner Anthony Driver, which led a very thorough and democratic search for a new police superintendent. Let me also thank every single person who is standing with us today, including senior members of my administration and leaders from the City Council. I believe we have Alderman Chris Taliaferro is with us, Brian Hopkins, and Gary Chico. I get that right? Peter Chico, sorry about that. I was looking right at him. Thank you for joining us today. I also want to thank all 54 applicants, especially Chief Barnes and Chief Navalas, both very incredible officers. I also want to extend a heartfelt thanks to the interim superintendent, Fred Waller, for putting his retirement on hold and committing himself to the people of Chicago. Over the last several months, it's been an incredible opportunity to work with Chicago's finest. And thank you, Fred. I appreciate your sacrifice and effort more than you'll ever know. Superintendent Waller has had so much influence on this administration. We will have a Fred Waller tie day coming very soon to the city of Chicago. But of course, thank you very much to Chief Snelling for accepting this call to serve. It is an immense responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of our residents. The challenges we face are quite complex. It's multifaceted. To build a safe and thriving communities that all Chicagoans deserve, we know that that's not going to happen overnight. But I'm confident by working together and utilizing the full force of government, we can bring the change that our city desperately needs. And Chief Larry Snelling is a proven leader who knows and holds dear the soul of Chicago, the values that encompass the greatest city in the world. He commands the highest respect of his brothers and sisters in the department, and I'm fully confident in his ability to unify and strengthen these critical public servants. I'm confident that he can boost their morale and implement constitutionally driven reforms that will ultimately create a safer Chicago. And furthermore, his expertise to navigate the great challenges that we are facing today, and his ability to build trust between rank and file as well as the public they serve, puts him in a class all by himself. In this role, he will build upon his 3 decades of service, most recently, of course, as Chief of the Bureau of Counterterrorism, after rising through the ranks of this department. In the coming months and years, we will work together collaboratively to develop and implement comprehensive strategies for public safety that address the unique needs of each and every one of our communities. And we will work together to continue to build the partnerships that ensures that every single voice is heard, that every resident feels safe, and those who are most impacted by crime in our city have a seat at the table in influencing the solutions that our communities deserve. Thank you, Chief Snelling, for your willingness to accept this challenge and to ascend to this role. But I also want to thank the city of Chicago. Thank you for your patience and resilience. Thank you for all of you who have committed to building a better, stronger, safer Chicago. And under the leadership of Chief Snelling and our rank and file officers, we will move forward together towards a brighter future for our city. Because as you all know, this is the greatest city in the world. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce, hold on a second, the Alderwoman of the 16th Ward, Stephanie Coleman, is here right from vacation. Please come on. No one else got an applause, but you can clap for Stephanie, though. So. And so with that, it is my honor and pleasure to bring to the podium the son of Inglewood, Chief Larry Snelling.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson, for those kind words. I'd first like to say thanks to Mayor Johnson and his team. I didn't realize before he gave that speech how much he expected of me, so it's too late to back out now, right? But just kidding. This is important. It's extremely important for our city. It's important for our communities, and it's important for our police department. And at this time, you know, I'm truly honored and humbled to be chosen by Mayor Johnson to lead the Chicago Police Department as the superintendent of police. When I started this job, at no point did I ever think that I would find myself in this position. I come from humble beginnings, like most of us, and probably most of us in this room. I'd first of all like to thank my family, my daughters in particular, who are out of town. As soon as they grew up, they ran off and left me, so they don't live here right now, but Imani and Jasmine, I see you, really appreciate you. And to Brian, thank you for being there. I'd also like to thank the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability for the work that they did in the search for the superintendent. And I'd also like to thank Superintendent Fred Waller for the great job that he's doing and bringing back some morale to the department. He was a great shot in the arm for our members and the city. I'd also like to thank and acknowledge the communities and the community members who have stood with us and continue to stand with us as we all work towards strengthening public safety. Lastly, I want to thank each person dedicated to making Chicago stronger, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, or where you live. I'm here because of the love, the trust, and the support of all of the people who felt that I should be the superintendent of police. I could not be here without that. This is an extremely important day for the city. For those who grew up like I did, a resident of Inglewood and a student of the Chicago Public Schools, I want you to know the possibilities are limitless. For those who tell you that you can't, and for those who believe that you can't because of where you come from, I'm here to tell you that you can. However, I could not have succeeded without hard work, dedication, and continuous education. At the heart of public safety is compassion, empathy, and problem solving. That's for our community, and that's for our department members as well. And when I mention our department members, I'm not only speaking of our officers. We have a civilian population within our ranks who do a great job every day in supporting us in the jobs that we do. So they definitely need to be acknowledged. The police department and our community members are not two separate institutions because they can't be. We have to work together by listening and learning from each other. I share the mayor's vision of public safety being supported by the full force of government to address root causes of violence to keep our beautiful city safe. And I want to be clear about my belief in the mayor's vision of the full force of government. We cannot do this alone as a police department. Every member of this city has to be a stakeholder. Right. And I'm willing to sit down, have a conversation with any and everybody within this city to work together to resolve some of the issues that we have and make this city as safe as we can possibly make it. To our survivors of violent crime and our victims, I hear you. I see you, and I stand with you. The Chicago Police Department hears you, they see you, and they stand with you. And for our officers who risk their lives every day to protect our residents, I know what you sacrifice on a daily basis. I know the sacrifices that your family makes when you go out to the street to keep this city safe. For those members of the Chicago Police Department, as well as our civilian population, I hear you, I see you, and I stand with you. We are rooted in constitutional policing. We will work to implement diversion and deflection programs, especially for youth. And we're always seeking justice for families of crime victims and survivors, with the follow-up from the Detective Division. We will continue building morale with a focus on wellness of our officers while creating stronger bonds of trust within the communities we serve. Safety in this city has to be a collective effort, one that transcends blocks and neighborhoods. It is critical that we share the responsibility amongst law enforcement, city departments, and sister agencies, local government, our federal partners, our residents, and community leaders. That is our path forward. That is the commitment I'm making to you today. My partnership with City Hall will be strong. Throughout the whole process, the mayor has been open to dialogue and has actively listened to different points of view. And I will tell you how important that is. Law enforcement is extremely difficult, and to have someone at City Hall who's willing to listen and willing to understand what our officers are dealing with on a daily basis, to understand how our officers are running into very violent situations and risking their lives. It is extremely important to have someone, a mayor, who sits at City Hall and understand that. I cannot stress that enough. And thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that. I would not be standing before you had it not been for the opportunities provided to me by someone I'd really like to thank right now, and that's Superintendent Fred Waller. And I know he's interim superintendent, but let me tell you, as I was coming up through the ranks, Superintendent Fred Waller saw some things in me that I probably didn't see in myself, and he pushed me toward those things. Good. Becoming the commander of Englewood, I like to say I got Fred Waller. What that means is I wasn't told, I wasn't asked, I was just told to go down to City Hall, told to go to headquarters. And when I went there, I was given an org chart, said, congratulations, you're gonna do a great job as the commander of Englewood. And I was pretty much in shock. I was in shock because I had not expected that. And though I may have had my doubts at the time, Superintendent Waller, who was then Chief Waller, never doubted me for 1 second. I want to thank Interim Superintendent Fred Waller for coming back, taking time out of his retirement, taking time away from his beautiful family to come here to raise morale within the department, walk amongst our community members and engage in ways that nobody probably really understands unless you follow him around. Just to see him out at Bud Billiken and to see the way the people showed him love, but he showed that love back. This is a mentor of mine. I've watched him. He's done great things. He treats everyone with respect. And that's what we need, especially in these times. So I am going to continue to move forward with that. And I will always keep interim Superintendent Fred Waller in the back of my mind when I'm making decisions. I'd also like to thank his wife, Keisha, for allowing him to come here. We all know she's probably the boss, right? So thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor Johnson, for the trust that you put in me to do this job. It's just an amazing feeling to stand here, and it probably still hasn't sunk in yet, but it's an amazing feeling after the conversations I've had with the mayor, for the mayor to choose me to serve as the superintendent. There was great competition. I'd like to thank Chief Navalis, Chief Barnes, for their applications and making the final three. I'm sure that was a tough decision. And to be the chosen person to lead this department, I am going to put in the work. You will have my total and complete dedication. We will work with everyone. Everyone will have a voice. It doesn't matter what part of town you're from. We're all children of Chicago, and we will all work together to continue to make the most beautiful city in the world, the safest city in the world. And with that, I'd like to introduce our president of the commission, Anthony Driver.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Anthony Driver Jr., and I currently have the pleasure of serving as the president of the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability. The CCPSA is a new citywide commission that was birthed after 50 years of continuous struggle for civilian oversight. On April 7th, the CCPSA, led by Commissioner Ramel Terry and I, launched a nationwide search for the next superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. We received 54 applications from all across the country, including 11 states and even one other continent. Of the applicants, 6 had experience as police chiefs of major cities, and 8 had experience as mid-sized chiefs. Our process was thorough and exhaustive. We hosted 7 community forums from all across the city that had an average attendance of 200 people per meeting. We put out surveys citywide that garnered over 600 responses, with over 270 coming from CPD rank and file officers. We met with over 75 organizations covering a multitude of sectors, from faith and labor to community and activist groups. We looked under every rock and dotted every I. I say all that to say that the expansiveness of our process is why I'm confident that Chief Larry Snelling is the right person for the job. He has demonstrated the kind of leadership that our department and our city needs today. People from all over the city have attested to his leadership abilities and his commitment to the city of Chicago. As a lifelong Southsider, I know that he will make our city proud. I've personally witnessed him in action during the uprisings of 2020. His reputation speaks for itself, as Chicagoans from all walks of life have rallied behind him on his behalf. I'm committed to working with him and his team, as well as Mayor Johnson and his administration, to enhance civilian oversight and push the city of Chicago forward. So what comes next? By ordinance, before the City Council holds a hearing and then votes on Chief Snelling's appointment, the commission will hold a public hearing that has to take place within 21 days of this announcement. At the meeting, Chief Snelling will answer questions from the commission and the public. People can come to the meeting and ask questions or post questions and comments on the CCPSA website. We're working to schedule that meeting. Information about the date, time, and location will be posted soon on the Commission's website. Then the City Council will hold a committee hearing for Chief Snelling's appointment, and then it will move on to the full City Council for what I hope is an upvote. If the City Council votes to approve Chief Snelling's appointment, the Commission will then hold a series of 4 public hearings. Those hearings will be an opportunity to learn more about the superintendent's plans, and they'll give people the opportunity to ask questions and share ideas about priorities for the department. There will be at least 1 hearing on the north side, and 1 on the west side, and 1 on the south. And with that, I'd like to bring back up Mayor Johnson to begin the Q&A.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, maybe not. Good afternoon, everyone. So we would like to give everyone a chance to ask a question, but we'd ask respectfully if you can keep it just to 1 question. We'll start here in the front with Erin, please.
Okay, this is for Chief Snelling. Can he answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is still pending City Council approval, but you're the first CPD superintendent to be selected through this new process that includes the CCPSA. But you've seen other superintendents selected through the old process. How do you think this, what do you think about this process, and do you think it, yielded the best results? You're probably kind of biased because you were selected, but do you think the community input was beneficial?
I'd like to think that this was the best process ever. However, I will say this. Things are ever evolving and changing. So whatever the challenges are, I'm up for the challenge. So I welcome any process that's going to be astringent in determining if the superintendent is the right person for the job.
Question again for Superintendent Snelling, Mac Liederman of Block Club, Chicago. Superintendent Snelling's got a nice ring to it, right? Yeah. My question for you is, there is no question there's kind of an immediate crisis at the police stations currently, and there's been a lot of talk about decompressing, but what is your plan and your timeline for moving migrants out of the police stations and, getting people off of sleeping on the floors?
So here's what I'll tell you. The mayor is working, and his team, they're working diligently to get housing for the migrants. I don't have a timeline on that right now, but I can guarantee you that as long as those migrants are in our stations, they're going to be treated with respect and dignity like any human being should be.
Alice, we'll go to you next.
Hi, for the chief, what do you hope your
Okay,
relationship...
what's going on here?
Sorry.
All right, go ahead, Alice.
What do you hope your relationship with the media will be like, and particularly, how will you guarantee that your department will prioritize transparency to us and the public?
Transparency. Transparency is the key. I will tell you the truth. Sometimes people won't be comfortable, but I can guarantee you it'll be the truth. So that's, moving forward, I think that's the most important thing. The other thing is education. We need to educate not only the media, but the public on what our jobs are as police officers. And I think with a better understanding of what our police officers are doing on a daily basis, more shared information, I think it'll help to build and bridge that gap between the community and police officers.
Thank you, Charlie Wojciechowski from Channel 5. Congratulations. And the first question, it's a 2-part question, but the first one's easy. What do we call you during this period?